Hello, everybody. Apologies for my late arrival, but now everything's fine. Uh, Good to have you all here. As usual, we do have our participation from FES. Roberto Watanabe will keep going on the studies of the Genesis. Today is Genesis of the universe according to Spiritism. So, please, I encourage you to post your questions, write your questions in the post comment. Also, if you want, add on your YouTube the questions, so you will have you will receive our reply. Let me see here. Let me see here. Oh, we already have Annie Marie, Carl Malachut. Yeah. Hey, joining from Chicago, North Shore, Evanston. Quaker, but getting more involved in spiritism. Welcome, my friend. I hope today you get more details about Spiritism. Genesis is a quite of complex book. So Roberto is with the hot potato in his hand. He gonna unpeel it, you know? So I'm pretty sure he's gonna do a great job here. So thank you, Louviam, for being here with us. So in order to start, let me do the initial prayer. So let's raise up our thoughts. Let's make connection with superior spirits, with our mentors of the group. Ask them to enlighten our speaker today. And may this message reach out to those brothers who are online today and may see this message in the future. Amen. Good. Good evening, Roberto. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine, Esteban. Glad to be here with you all again.
Yes. It's a pleasure to have you all here every month.
Uh,
So let's start. I'm already 5 minutes late, so I don't want to delay anymore.
okay,
Let
thank
me
you,
put it
Esteban.
here. Can you see your presentation?
Yes, I can see. Thank you.
Good. I'm removing myself. Anything?
Okay, hello, everybody. Uh, Thanks to be with us again. And today we are going to start a new book. We just finished the Heaven and Hell. And now we will start the book Genesis Miracles and Predictions According to Spiritism. This is the last book that Allan Kardec published in 1868. In this book, Allan Kardec, the codifier of Spiritism, follows a scientific approach to explain. This is in the first part of the book, right? Because there are three parts. And in this first part, he follows the scientific approach, of course, the science from his time, right? Which is the science from the 19th century, middle of the 19th century. And then from the point of view of the Spiritism, of course. Here in this book, he tries to explain the genesis of the universe, the genesis, how the stars, the galaxies, the stars, our sun is a star, right? So the planets around such as those stars, the satellites from the planets, how they are created. And also in this book, he also approaches the genesis of life, the spiritual genesis, uh, the genesis of ourselves as spirits. And he talks also about the spiritual fluids because we have a matter, which is the dense matter, which compose our body, our houses, the things in general. And then we have also the spiritual fluids, which compose our spiritual body, for example, our perispirit, and also the spiritual dimension where we are going to live after we pass away, right? So, and he talks about all these things in the book of Genesis. And also, he besides the talks about the creation, which are all these topics that I just mentioned, he also talks about the creator, right? The creation and the creator, which is God, right? So until the end of this year, we are going to extract some the most important chapters of this book, and we're going to see here, right? Every month. I just left behind some chapters, which is about, as I said, where Kardec talks about the science of his time, which is now is outdated, right? So we are going to concentrate more on those parts that are still valuable to applicable today. So let's start by the genesis of the universe according to Spiritism. And this is the chapter 6 of this book, right? Genesis. And in this book, in this chapter, Kardec will be explaining to us how the universe were created. Actually, as he say in the book, in the book, God is the creation is eternal, right? So our universe were created, but many galaxies are now disappearing from the universe, and new galaxies are being created. So creation is permanent, right? Is eternal. And let's start then by the concepts of space and time. Right? So, what is space? Kardec says in the Genesis book. He says that space is the expanse that separates two bodies. So you have one body on the right side, the other body on the left side, and then you have a space between them. So this is a space, and from his point of view, the space is infinite for the reason that it's impossible, he says, to imagine it as having any limit. He gives us an example in the book. For example, if we let's imagine that we depart from the Earth, our Earth, and we travel at the speed of a light, right? So then, after let's say 1 hour of our traveling, we are very far from Earth. Maybe we can see Earth just as a point in the infinite in the space, right? In the sidereal space. Then, if we travel, let's say for 1 year, then we at that point we will probably will not be able to see our Earth, and probably even our sun we cannot see because of the distance that we are from the Earth, right? But then if we look ahead, we see an immensity of space still to travel, right? So this is the idea of the infinite. We can travel forever, and we will not reach an end of the space. So that is the idea of space being infinite. The other conception that he works on this book is the conception of time. And then he explains that time is the sequence of things. And because, for example, yesterday we had yesterday, we have today, and then tomorrow will be the future. So the sequence of days in this case, right? So sequence of things in general. We were, for example, child some years ago. Now we are adult, and then tomorrow we are being an old person, right? So time is just that, the sequence of things. But time is relative according to the world. So Kardec, I'm saying Kardec, but actually this chapter of the Genesis is is a communication from the spirit of Galileo, the scientist from the 16th century, Galileo Galilei. And he, as a spirit, is explaining the formation of the universe. Then he explains that there are many worlds in the vast universe, and the different in such many worlds are different according to their specific conditions. For example, the day in our Earth have a duration of 24 hours. If we imagine, for example, the day in the Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, uh, probably will be more than 24 hours. So it's different in this case. It's relative, right? But what the Spirit Galileo says is that outside of these worlds, Earth, Jupiter, and many other worlds that exist in the universe, only eternity replaces such ephemeral sequences. So we have a relative time here on Earth with Jupiter, but above this all, we have eternity. What is the difference between time and eternity? Time has a beginning, although it has no end, right? When we say, for example, that we spirits are immortal, it means that we have a beginning because we were created by God, but we don't have any end because we are immortal. Right? Eternity is something more broader than that because eternity is something that has no beginning and no end. So that's eternity. So eternity is something that is situated beyond time. So that is what Galileo, the spirit of Galileo, is explaining here. Right? So if we look to the universe, then what we have an immensity with boundaries because we can travel forever and will not find a limit in the universe, and also an eternity without bounds because in this vast universe the creation is eternal, there is no beginning, no end, right? And a specific universe, of course, that have a beginning of an end. For example, our earth our earth had a beginning and will have an end someday in the future. Some people calculate by, let's say, 5 million years from now, the sun will lose the heat he has, right? So then, without the heat from the sun, there will be no life on Earth. And at that time, Earth will have an end. But the creation as a whole does not have no beginning and no end. No end. Is that and in that point of view, which we can understand, right? That the universe is in the universe we have an eternity without any bound, right? And such are the two great properties of the universe, Galileo says. Then we have the concept of matter, right? So at first glance, uh, nothing seems so profoundly varied as the diverse substances that comprises the world, even in our world, right? On the nature of our world, there is many kind of substances. If you look at the mineral kingdom, vegetable, animal, and kingdom, well, there are many kind of things, right? Substances. But all these substances, no matter how similar they may be, they are just different modes. Looking for the point of view of matter, right? There are just different modes under which matter presents itself. So, and such a diversity in matter comes from an unlimited number of forces that presided over its transformation. Well, what Galileo is saying here is that we have a kind of a primitive matter, and this primitive matter, um, uh, related to this primitive matter, we have some forces, and such forces presides the transformation of such primitive matter, and then we have the variety of things, right, that existed in our world and in the universe. So that's what he's going to talk now. Right? What is this primitive matter? Right? This is a kind of ethereal fluid that fills space and penetrates bodies, all bodies, right? So Galileo says it is the ether or the primitive cosmic matter, the generator of the universe and of beings. Right? And inherent to this ether are the forces that preside over the transformation, right? The metamorphosis of matter. So what are such forces? Right? So these multiple forms in Kardec's time, the middle of the 19th century, was known on our Earth as gravity, which was discovered by Newton, right? Isaac Newton, and cohesion, affinity, attraction, magnetism, and electricity. So this is the concept of forces at the Kardec's time. Today, and in our modern science, uh, scientists say that we have four fundamental forces, right? Gravity, which was already there, and then we have the joining of magnetism and electricity, and we have the second fundamental force, which is electromagnetism, and then we have two other forces that are not now, right? They still that they haven't hadn't discovered at the Kardec's time, which is the strong force and the weak force. So these four fundamental forces today are the forces known, right, by science. And the vibratory movements of such forces, of these agents or such forces, are known as sound, heat, light, right? The X-rays, and so what are these vibratory movements that we are talking about here? Are nothing more than electromagnetic waves, right? So according to the frequencies of such waves, then we have a sound, the sound that we can hear of music, for example. Uh, in a different frequency, we have the heat that we feel from an oven, for example. And in another, most faster frequencies, we have light, and still higher frequency, we have the X-rays, which is to make exams, for example, in our bodies and on the medical hospital. So, such as the vibratory movements and such forces, as Galileo says, is the elements that presides the transformation of the primitive matter, and then we have this variety of things or of substance that we have in the universe. And but all such forces depending on a unique universal law, which is diversified in its effects. Right? And this is something that the science is still looking for today, right? Because from those four fundamental forces, they could find the common origin of the electromagnetic, the weak, and the strong force. But they still did not find the common origin from gravity and the electromagnetic, from the force which is in the origin of the other three forces, right? So, but here, Galileo um, assure us that there is such a universal law, huh? The common law which diversify in all these um, aspects of force, right? A diversity of forces. So that he says that the emblem of the universe has just one motto: unity and diversity, meaning that we have unity in harmony and creation, at the same time that we have an infinite diversity in the immense flower bed of the stars, meaning that there are lots of different things in the universe, but all these things obey, let's say, to the one unique law, which is the universal law. And so he also explains that all these forces are eternal and universal, like the creation. Uh, as was already explained, such forces prepare, guide, conserve, and destroy worlds in their various stages of life. Because as we, as human beings, we have the beginner. We are we got we being born, then we We become a child, we become a young people, adult, old people, and then we pass away, we die, right? So this stage of a life that we have as human beings, planets, stars also have. Of course, the duration is much, the length of time is much wider than our life, right? But they also have a beginning and an end. And also all these by the influence of such forces. So such forces govern the marvelous works of nature, Galileo says, ensuring the eternal splendor of creation. And then let's talk about the first creation, right? How our universe was created, right? So this is what is going to be explained now, huh? Starting by saying that God, by His nature, having existed from all eternity, has created from all eternity, because we cannot imagine God in some time, um, let's say, having idle time, right? Doing nothing. So that's why we say that creation is eternal, because God is only in eternal activity. And so that if we go back a few million centuries before our time, our solar system did not yet exist, neither our solar system nor our Earth. But at that time, a few million centuries ago, splendid suns already illuminated the ether. Inhabited planets already gave life to a multitude of beings, Galileo said, right? Galileo the Spirit. And by that time also, already splendors that used to make the hearts of other mortals before us um, were no more, huh? Did not exist anymore. So this is the meaning of eternal creation. Something is created and then get to an end, but another, let's say, galaxy is being created, and so on and so forth, eternally. And space is the theater of such an unimaginable sequence and simultaneity of creations. So if we can see by the pictures of the telescope, we see some nebula, right, on the space, on the dark, on the profound space, and then such a nebula that we can barely um, make out in the farthest reaches of space. They are clusters of suns in the process of formation. So, and the other nebulas are nebulae are galaxies of inhabited worlds. So worlds is far away from us, right? And still others are galaxies which are declining, are being destroyed by those forces that we have mentioned. So just to have an idea, this is a nebulae here, right? So it's like a cloud, right? We can discern things here, but from this nebulae we have is the, let's say, the from this nebula the galaxy comes to life, right? So that's what you must have in mind. And then, so how our current universe came to life, right? So then Galileo explains that primitive cosmic matter contain the material, fluidic, and vital elements for all the universe. Material because material is something that composes the dense bodies, like our body, our houses, our cars, and everything that exists in nature. Right? And fluidic fluids is something that composes our spiritual body, as I said already, and also the spiritual dimension, right? Where the spirit, discarnate spirit, live. And the vitality is something that gives us life to all the living beings like us. Right? So all these three elements, material, fluidic, and vital, comes from has a common origin, which is the primitive cosmic matter. So And it's such a fluid, such a cosmic matter penetrates bodies like an immense ocean. So meaning that we have all this body here, our body and other things around us, and all of these are immersed in this primitive cosmic matter, or the universal fluid, we say. Right? So meaning that we are immersed in the cosmic matter or the universe fluid, like fishes are immersed in the ocean, right? In the water of the ocean. So in such a cosmic matter resides the vital principle which that gives rise to the life of beings on every planet and everywhere, right? Where living beings exist. And so then Galileo explains that at some point in the universe, such nebulae that we just have seen and such cosmic matter condenses in the form of a huge nebulae, and then, in virtue of the molecular force of attraction of such nebulae, it takes the shape of an asteroid, a circular shape, right? So a sphere shape. And then, such circular movement soon modifies these primitive spheres to the lenticular space shape. And so, just to have an idea here, we can see a nebulae which it took. Imagine such a nebulae which we have seen before. There is no form here, right? So then, by the force of attraction, it takes such asteroid shape, and then after that, it takes the lenticular shape, kind of a spiral, right? So which is this is the lenticular shape. And then what the spirit of Galileo says that by taking such a lenticular shape, we have two forces are acting here, right? So there is a centripetal force which attracts all this matter to the center of this mass, and also a centrifugal force which pushes the matter away from this mass, right? So you can see the lenticular shape because you see that some part of the mass is escaping on the space. So, and a part of the outer part of this matter escapes actually from this mass, and then it separates from the central part, and then uh, repeat all the things again. Such mass take the asteroid form and then lenticular form, and so forth, right? So then, when such nebulae condensates enough, we have the sun, for example, and then the part of some mass of the original sun condensate, we have planets, right? Like Earth, like Mars, like Jupiter, right? So, and then from such planets, we have some material that have had detached from our Earth, for example, and after the condensating, that mass formed our moon, a satellite of our Earth. So that's how the galaxies, which is composed of stars, which have planets rotate around such a star. Our sun is a star, and then each planet, some planets have, other not, but those who have the satellites rotating around them, right? Like our moon that is rotating around our Earth, and the Earth itself is rotating around the Sun, and also the Sun, together with other stars, are rotating around another central Sun, much bigger, of course, than our Sun, and so on and so forth, right? So this is how um, the Spirit of Galileo is explaining how the universe were created, right? So we're going, as I have a big general explanation here, we are going now to just to pass fast here on this slide, right? So I I had explained here about the nebulae that they took the shape of asteroid, then lenticular shape, then the two forces that result from such rotational movements, centrifugal, and then this, as the centrifugal force predominates over the attraction to the center or to the centripetal force, then some particle mass escape from the central mass, right? So it, that's why Galileo said it detects the equatorial circle, right? The outer circle from the nebulae and forms a new mass isolated from the first. And then you can have the sun here in the center, and then that part that is separated will become a planet, right? And the part of those planets which separate will become the satellites. So, and after that, the degenerate nebula condenses and retakes its spherical shape, and then it's repeated the movement, and then new parts of the nebula are separated. That's why around the sun we have many planets, right? Because uh, those planets, Mercury, Venus, and Earth, Mars, and Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. So are all masses that were separated from the original mass which composes this, our sun, right? So that's what he is explaining here. And then we have the solar system, right? With the sun in the center and then the planet around the sun. And the satellites around the planet, right? We have moons in Earth and Jupiter, for example, and we have no satellite around the Mercury or Venus, for example, right? So planets are formed from masses of condensed matter. So that's what we have explained, right? And from this planet, we will give birth to the moon in our case. Huh? So that's what we explain. And we also have comets. Comets are stellar bodies which is not limited to the solar system, right? Because the Earth is limited to the solar system. Our Earth cannot travel beyond the solar system, right? Comets can, right? The comets they they travel outside of the solar system, so they can reach other stars, no? And that's why Galileo says, the spirit, that comets travel successfully from sun to sun, and as he travels around many stars or many suns, they enriching themselves with the planetary fragments of those suns, right? And then those fragments are reduced to the state of a vapor. So that's from that fact we have the hypothesis that maybe life in our Earth was brought by the comet, some comet, right, which passed through our Earth in sometimes in the past. So uh, that's why Galileo says here, right, that the comets draw to themselves the vivifying and renewing principles on other solar systems, and then or star system, and then that vivifying and renewing principles, which means life, are shed over the terrestrial world. So that's why life came here to Earth. So that's the hypothesis, right? Science are still working on that. And then we have our galaxy, right? Because our sun is a star, which together with millions of other stars, composes the Milky Way. A Milky Way is the name of the galaxy where we live, right? So the Milky Way, Galileo says, is a prairie sown with solar or planetary flowers that shine throughout its normal expanse. And he says that have the sun has a gigantic proportion compared to our Earth, right? But in the vast creation, it occupies only an unappreciable dot, right? Just a point, in the vast creation. And Galileo says, this is in the mid of the 19th century, as I explained, he said that we could count some 30 million similar suns or similar stars gravitating in the immense region of our galaxy, which is the Milky Way. But today, the science says that is not only 30 million suns, but 100 to 200 billions of suns or stars is the most updated estimate for today. But the Milky Way itself is just one of the, which is a galaxy, is just one of the billions of galaxies that exist in the universe, right? So that's why we say that the Milky Way represents only an unperceivable point when seen from the point of view of the entire universe. And it is nothing more than one stellar nebulae among the thousands. The Spirit Galileo says that in the universe there are thousands of galaxies. Today, the science today says that there are billions of galaxies, right, in the universe. So this is just to update the most recent information of science. So then we have now the idea of this immense universe where we live in. And this is a picture of the Milky Way, our galaxy, and the sun is close to the outer uh, board of this galaxy, right? It's in the outer circle, let's say, of this galaxy. Imagine what we have in the center, right? How big are the stars that we have there? And Galileo also talks about the fixed star, right? Because in the past, the people used to believe that the stars were fixed in the heaven, right? So, but they are also moving, right? So they are not isolated from all outside attraction. So they all belong, the stars belong to the same agglomeration of stellar bodies, right? So some like Sirius, for example, which is a star much bigger than our sun, are thousands of times richer and more magnificent in size than our sun. And the planets that revolve around its Sirius are greater in number and far more advanced than ours, meaning that the civilization that we have in such planets around Sirius are much more evolved than us, right? Humans that live in this earth. And certain numbers of such suns, they are twins, right? They are true twins, Galileo says, in the sidereal order. And they form in space dual systems. So you can imagine that a planet that you revolve around such suns, maybe you have never have night there, right? So it is day 24 hours. Huh? So such is the diversity of a situation that we have in the universe. And other stars may be deprived of planets and may have received elements of habitability, right? Meaning that in some stars we can have life, right, as we have it on Earth. So just to have an idea of how diverse is our universe. Uh, and I said that the moon rotates revolve around our Earth. Our Earth revolves around the sun. The sun revolves around. The sun also travels through space, right? Revolving around some bigger star, big star, right? So let's say that's why Galileo said that the sun travels through space, carrying along with it its vast system of planets, moons, and comets. So meaning that we and Earth, we are not just moving because the Earth is rotating around itself, which makes night and day, but we are moving around the sun, which makes a year of 365 years, And but the sun already is rotating. Let's say is moving around another big star, right? So uh, you can imagine the multiple movements that we are going through now, right? While we are just sitting here in our chair, we are we are in constant moving in all this situation, right? So uh, that's why we say that the sun travels through space, and together with the other suns of the same order, gravitates around the central sun. But such central sun also together with his colleagues, let's say, revolves around another big sun, and so on and so forth. Right? And between between one galaxy and the other, let's say between the Milky Way or Milky Way and another galaxies, there is an empty space, right? So that is called a desert of space, an immense unbounded desert extended beyond the agglomeration of stars. No? The Milky Way is one agglomeration of stars. Then you have another galaxy, which is another agglomeration of stars. Right? And there is a distance between them, which is such a desert of space. And beyond such vast areas of isolation, worlds radiate in their magnificence, meaning that you have the Milky Way, let's say on the right side, you have another galaxy on the left side, and then we have billions of another galaxies uh, beyond such deserts, right, of space which separate the galaxies. That's what's being said here, right? So this is something is interesting to note that this is something that is being said in the mid of the 19th century, but this is science today confirms that, right? So that reality. And so that the worlds whose varied and unfamiliar conditions give it to give them life that our conception cannot imagine. Meaning that we even cannot imagine what kind of a life, right, that are in such other worlds, in other galaxies, in other parts of the universe. And then there is such an eternal succession of worlds, right? Because even a galaxy, if it has a beginning, it will also have an end. Of course, it will take billions of years, right? But in some time, the galaxy also will disappear. But at the same time, new other galaxies are being created. Right? So that's what is meaning here by the eternal succession of worlds. Right? So a unique primordial and general law, which is that universal law that you mentioned in the beginning, has been bestowed on the universe to ensure its eternal stability. So, under this universal law, matter undergoes the necessary transformation, right, from under the influence of those forces that we mentioned, and that leads such a matter from the seed to the ripe fruit, meaning from the nebulae without any form to the circular nebulae to lenticular shape and then to the formation of the stars, planets, and satellites. Right? So, and also preside over the destruction of the heavenly body because our star, for example, will have an end, right? 5 billion years from now, but we will have an end at some point in time. And the constitutive elements that is composing the sun, for example, now, or our earth now, will return to the common mass. And what will happen to such mass? Will form other bodies in the universe, right? So that is what, let's say, the scientist, the French scientist Lavoisier had already said there on the uh, 18th century, right? That nothing are created in the universe, right? There are also transformation of things, and this way, worlds succeed worlds, and suns succeed suns, and galaxies succeed galaxies, right? So, and there were one thing interesting to note here in science already confirmed that is this final sentence here. There, let's say, let's look at the point of the new universe, right? At night, the day we can see the deep space, right? So there, where our eyes admire the splendid stars, the finger of death has long extinguished many such splendors. What is being said here? Now we have again the concept of time, right? We know that the speed of light that I mentioned in the beginning, let's depart from Earth at the speed of light. The speed of light is 300,000 kilometers per second, right? So uh, light travels at a limited, a very high speed, but is limited anyway, right? So it means that when we look at night and when we look at one star, for example, right, shining there on the deep space, maybe that star does not exist anymore because the image that we are getting now from that star departed from that star millions of years ago until reaching our Earth. So if that light departed from that star millions of years ago, it may happen that now when we see the image of that star, that ray of light comes to our eyes, that star cannot may not be existent anymore, uh, may have disappeared already, right? So that's why we say in general that at night when we look at the space, the stars, we are looking to the past, right? The past because we are looking to the rays of light that uh, departed from such stellar bodies millions or thousands of millions of years ago. So they may not exist anymore. Just to have an idea, right? In the Galileo, is Kardec mentioned in this book, and this is confirmed now by science. If a ray of light depart from the sun, right, our sun, and to reach Earth, it takes 8 minutes. So meaning that when we are looking to the sun, we are looking to the sun 8 minutes in the past, right? So imagine that when we look at the stars, which are on a much farther distance, right, from us. So that's something interesting to know, right? To see the stars is to see the past. So this universal life, we can, Kardec said, right? We can add to this eminent just idea of creation is necessary to add that of the solidarity of humankind, because all these galaxies, stars, planets, satellites are not created for nothing, right? They are created for spirits, right? So for ourselves, is the dwelling places where we evolve, right? And from our condition of simple ignorant beings until we reach the perfection, right? Perfection. And then all this family spread all over the universe has been created in the universality of the world, and we are tied by a fraternity bond, right? Which uh, connect everybody of us. So such ties of fraternity are still inappreciable, by us, and but such fraternity has been bestowed on this world by God. So that's something interesting to know, to realize, right? That we have all the universe for us spirits to live in these bodies and to evolve, by ourselves until we can get closer to our Creator, right, to God. So that is um, that's why we say that the creation of God comes from His infinitely mercy and goodness, right? So see, such diversity of a world imagined from such a big picture, how small are our Earth, right? And how our human presumption have has no sense at all, right? So, and we cannot imagine that this planetary system and other worlds are similar to us, right? There are some like Sirius, for example, that I mentioned, which are in much better condition, right, than us. So this is prodigious diversity, right, which is manifested in the ethereal dwelling places that float in the bosom of space. God, the Spirit Galileo said, right? They are the diverse. Well, he is kind of a poetic writer. They are the diversified jewels in the immense mosaic, the diverse flowers in a remarkable flower bed. So this is the magnificent vision that we have of the universe according to a scientific approach from Kardec and according to Spiritism. So that's something that I would like to bring today. And this is on the, uh, like I said, on the chapter 6 of the book of Genesis, which is called the General Uranography. And the next month we will see Genesis of life according to Spiritism. Okay, so that's what I have to bring for you today. Oh,
Good. See, there is no such hot potato you cannot peel it. That's good. So thank you, my friend. Thank you. It's great to see. Uh, I don't want to be redundant, but we are not alone. Somewhere in this space, there there is someone. You know,
yeah,
I don't know. It's too selfish saying all this was created just for us. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we are part of much greater thing. Some people call it God, some people call it nature.
yeah,
Doesn't matter. What's matter is we need to understand there is something more intelligent, more uh, I would say different with superpowers compared to ourselves. You know.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's why we say that one of the basic principles of Spiritism is the plurality of inhabited worlds. And
Yeah.
there are worlds much more advanced than ours, and less advanced also.
Well, law of progression, law of
Yeah,
evolution.
yeah,
So we always have it.
yeah,
Let me see if I have any questions. We have a lot of people saying thank you, beautiful pitch, because fantastic speech. So Leila Spiden,
yeah.
Luis Antonio Monteiro.
Leila is from FESP. I see also Animari is from FESP.
Hmm.
Antonio, I'm not sure. Maybe he can say.
Yeah,
Luis Antonio Monteiro also.
good.
Louvienne, which is always with us.
Luis here. Yeah, yeah. She's always with us. It's
And,
great.
and now our colleague Carl Malashut.
Yeah, Carl
Yeah,
Malashut. I hope, I hope, Carl, you had a bit of understanding
yeah,
about what Kardec wrote for us, what the spirits said, and Kardec just codified.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
So, can you do final prayer for us? So,
sure.
by the way, next month it is
July 16th.
July 16th. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see the genes of the life according to Spiritism. Genes of the
Oh,
life on our earth. Right?
yeah,
Okay,
great. Can you do the final prayer for us, my friend?
sure. Well, thank you all again for being with us, and let's Now, thanks for all the spiritual benefactors for all the support and help they always grant us in this work that we are accomplishing to divulge the Spiritist doctrine. And we also will thank Jesus for this opportunity to be reunited in His name again. And also, we are going to thank God by all this marvelous creation that they accomplished and accomplish eternally, just to give to us spirits the habitation, the dwelling places where we can evolve in wisdom and love until we can get close to Him. So thanks to God for that. So be it.
Okay.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you, FASP. Thank you, Kardec Radio, for the opportunity to be here. So I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.